But now I can ask it in earnest. Who's the bigger problem? Is it Andrew Berry or is it Kevin Stefanski with this team?
I think it's Andrew Berry. I think that the talent.
Tell me why.
I think the talent on this team assembled has not been good enough, and that is across all levels. And yes, we have to sit here and say that the 2025 draft that Andrew Berry had looks like a smashing success. It looks like they have a lot of guys that are going to be good players in the NFL for a long time. However, I think a lot of what he has done in years leading up to that has put us in the results that we are in right now. Even if you don't want to put the Deshaun Watson trade, which I think is the worst trade in the history of this sport, if you want to put that on ownership and not on Andrew Berry, okay, I can get on board with that too. But I think there have been a lot of shortcomings in other areas of talent acquisition that have led the Browns to be where they are right now. Why has this offensive line gotten so bad? Are you telling me that because Bill Callahan's not here, the offensive line is this horrific? I'm not saying it needs to be the best, but it shouldn't be this bad. How come you have not been able to find a young receiver that doesn't need to be making a lot of money that's serviceable? I'm not asking for Justin Jefferson. I'm not asking for Jamar Chase. I'm asking for average. And you can't even get that out of the receiver position unless you make a trade for it. And that only lasts so long. And Jerry Jeudy is not even as good as Amari Cooper was when Amari Cooper first got here. Like, I will give Andrew Berry credit where it's due, but he has overall, I think, done a worse job than Kevin Stefanski. And I'm not going to sit here and try and sell you that Kevin Stefanski is Vince Lombardi or Bill Cowher or whatever Super Bowl winning coach you want to name, because he's not been that good this year either. Mm-hmm. But I also look at the totality of things and say, you know what? I think over the course of how long they have been in Cleveland, Kevin Stefanski has done a much better job at what he is asked to do than Andrew Berry has at what he is asked to do.
It's a tough answer because I think that both certainly have their flaws, and I've been exposed more to Kevin's flaws here over the last few weeks than I ever thought I cared to be, because the offense is stagnant. The offensive scheme of what is done is stagnant. I don't know if the pieces would make it better, because you brought up the offensive line. We got to understand is that whether Shedeur goes in and plays well this year and ends up being the quarterback going into next year, which is probably unlikely, or if it's a rookie next year or whoever, you're probably going to have a rookie offensive lineman or two starting on your offensive line, which is scary considering that, we make a big deal about quarterback play in this league because that's what people care about. Offensive line play is even scarier than quarterback play. These guys are coming out and they are somehow just not ready. I think part of it is because they're hitting the transfer portal too, and you got some guys who are good offensive line coaches who knew exactly what the hell they were doing. You mentioned Bill Callahan. I'll talk more about him coming up at 9:22 and the chances of bringing him back. But there's plenty of guys, and we saw that last year, who don't know their ass from a hole in the ground when it comes to offensive line play at that level, and you have a real problem on your hands. And that's terrifying. So that's not an argument for Andrew Berry, because you set us up to be in this situation. I know your thought partners, but you set us up to be in this situation. You took Jed Wills. Jed Wills was replaced by a fourth-round guy. Thought we'd be able to do it, except the fourth-round guy who's got a good heart. Boy, can't stay healthy, so we have ourselves a problem with the young man, and now we got to think about going in a different direction. Hate to say it, but it's true, as I love DeJuan Jones. But this is year 3, and the poor kid can't stay healthy, and so we got ourselves a problem. Then I look at what you've done with the rest of the positions when it comes to weaponry. Running back, seems that you've done a good job. It's results-based. Wide receiver, you've traded for a good one. You've got a good season out of another one you've traded. Your drafts have not been good.
Terrible. That is the worst thing he's done, is try and draft wide receivers.
There
has been... How many serviceable wide receivers has Andrew Berry drafted? Not even good. Serviceable. Replacement level.
If you go...
Because Cedric Tillman's not that.
But if you go to some of these drafts, and I'm not just going to bring it, like Stephon Diggs was a 5th-round guy. Okay, well, special, and Stephon Diggs was special. But there's guys exactly what you said who are serviceable, good enough wide receivers. Now, because of our situation, maybe they end up being forced to be a number 1 or a number 2 on a team that they're not supposed to be a number 1 or a number 2. Okay, fair is fair. But again, who puts together the roster? And then I do think that there's a lot of people out there that just aren't going to forgive him for the whole Deshaun Watson thing, and I would probably say rightfully so. I mean, you made that bed, now we all have to lay in it. All that, though, is not a defense of what Kevin Stefanski has done here recently, which hasn't been winning or hasn't been getting the offense going. So it is very difficult for me to say who's the bigger problem, because if you move on from one of them during the season, I don't think you're going to be satiated. Some people might be fine, but you're just going to say bad things about Bubba Ventrone or Jim Schwartz, who were to take over the team, because I just don't think the team's very good.
Correct. And that, Ken, gets me to where I believe the most. The Jimmies and the Joes are going to matter more than the X's and the O's. They are. The guys playing the game matter more than the schemes. You can do a lot of good stuff with schemes. You can hide some stuff. But ultimately, you can only do as much as your talent allows you to do. And right now, the Browns don't have talent.
Let me get to Murphy in Cleveland. Hello, Murphy. Murphy just dropped. There he is. Hello. Go, Murphy. Go. I'm sorry.
Good morning, boys. Yeah, so I'm not sure we're asking the right question here, and we can argue all day about it.
Ask the right question. Ask the right question, then.
I don't think there was anything about that game plan on Sunday that showed Kevin wanted to win that game. One thing you could argue about this whole operation, I mean, it might be
reckless
now.
Speculation.
Okay, continue, Murphy.
So we all agree that Kevin's a smart guy, right? I think he was the perfect guy to get us through the season with COVID, things like that. There's no way you have a situation where you're dropping that kid back 50 times to pass the ball, given our tackle situations. You're first and goal on the 3-yard line, and you take Jenkins out of the game. I think everything about how Gabriel would perform under these circumstances. I just don't think there was anything about. You look at the way he called the game with Flacco in week 1, and he had a lot of short screens and things like there were extensions of the run. I think he was in it to win it in some of the game plans. This past game plan, no way. I think they wanted to see what that kid had on the road in Pittsburgh, because I cannot believe Kevin, even though I think he has his faults, he is that dumb to not change the game plan more than he did and not run the ball.
Murphy, thank you very much for the call. You're breaking up there.
There's nothing that shows that Murphy wanted to complete that call.
I don't think that. Are we alleging that he lost the game on purpose, helped lose the game on purpose? Is that what we're alleging here?
Okay, this might be a Galaxy Brain take thing. Remember Baker's last game with the Browns?
Yeah.
In Pittsburgh?
Yeah, it's unforgettable.
It looks very similar.
Game, yeah.
It looks very similar to what we saw this past week in terms of a game plan. And there is part of me that thinks, a big part of me, that thinks that last game Baker played with the Browns was Kevin Stefanski saying, you want to do it your way? Fine, we'll do it your way. Is this him saying to Andrew Berry, you want to do it your way? We'll do it your way. You want to get rid of the quarterback? I believe that I can do this.
Who wants to drop back 58 times?
Just one
Andrew Berry's the one that traded Joe
speculation.
Flacco.
Who wants to drop back 58 times?
Andrew Berry. It's not dropping back 58 times. It's getting rid of the quarterback that Kevin believed he could win a little bit with.
Wait a minute. Who led the charge to take Dylan Gabriel then? Doesn't Kevin love Dylan Gabriel?
I would think. I don't think Kevin loves Dylan Gabriel week 6 against the Steelers.
Why would... Hold on. Why would you then, if Kevin likes Dylan Gabriel, let's go step by step here, Owen. Kevin likes Dylan Gabriel. Why would you take a quarterback that everybody and their brother believes that you were the one who really, really liked? Why would you take him and torpedo him to prove a point? What point are you trying to prove?
That he is being set up for failure.
Then get rid of everybody, because I'm not doing petty games between the owner between the general manager and the head coach. I've done that before. The cycle's repeating itself. There's no way.
We might be there.
Then you have to go back a week, then.
If that's true, I don't believe that's true whatsoever. Because if that's true, then I've never called for people to be let go ever. If that were to be true, then to hell with it. Well, I'm not doing that. If they're going out there and they actually agree with one another, and we can all look at it and go, "Gosh, you guys are crazy." Fine, at least they agree with one another. I'm not taking a QB that already has shortcomings and putting him in a bad spot just to zing Andrew Berry. You do that? No, you got to go. You got to go. Because now you're messing with the rest of the team. You're messing with the fan base.
He didn't do that.
You're messing with our
Minnesota.
emotions. No.
He didn't do that against Minnesota. Are you saying that Andrew Berry forced him into playing?
No, I mean, he did not.
Him against Minnesota?
I thought the game against Minnesota was the worst coach game maybe that Kevin Stefanski has had.
Okay.
It looked different than this past week.
Danny,
I think it's fair to say.
Danny, listen to what you're saying. I mean, that's treasonous.
I told you it was a Galaxy Brain take.
That's treasonous.
It's
I told you it was a Galaxy Brain take.
It's not Galaxy Brain. I'm struggling to not call it something else. If it were Tone, I'd say something else. But I like you too much, and I don't know if you'd take it. What?
You don't like Tone?
I have a history of saying things to Tone and then accidentally saying it to other people, and then they won't talk to me again. And I don't want to do that with you. Hey, has it not happened in the studio during the show before?
Every day of my life.
It's happened in the studio with other people co-hosting the show before.
I've tried to not talk to him for
Not
12
you,
years.
not you, Owen.
Yeah.
You were in here the day it happened with the one person,
I've been here a lot of times.
and
now.
he's never been
I'll
back.
write the book one day.
I'll read it.
What's it going to be called? Throne Staplers?
Oh, yeah.
That's nuts.
Probably,
Danny, that's
but
nuts.
can you rule it out?
Yes.
I don't know that
I'm
you can rule it
going to
out.
rule out that Kevin Stefanski wouldn't be so petty and irresponsible to the organization that he has to help run. No, I'm not. You're just making yourself look bad. You're just making yourself look bad.
They all look bad anyways.
Not just you. I'm talking about him.
Yeah,
I don't like the take, so you're making yourself look bad. But when it comes to
fine.
Kevin, why would I make myself look bad in front of all these fans? I'm not gonna throw my own name through the mud and let people think
he's
that I'm a
getting dragged
terrible
through
coach.
the mud anyways.
But Kevin at least still has the dignity of believing that he's a good football coach. And apparently there's still plenty of people. Now that number is getting shorter, but there's still plenty of people around the league that also believe he's a good football coach. I'm not going to, no.
I have two questions for Danny.
What?
Danny, do you believe these last two coached games by Kevin Stefanski were the worst coach games of his career? With the Browns.
I think Minnesota might be.
Okay.
I don't know that
you
this
don't
past
think that last
week was
a bad. Okay.
I
So
just
you
think that
agree
there's
with
such
58
I thought there was such a talent discrepancy this week. I didn't think it was
dropbacks that.
I don't think it was
overcome
anywhere
talent
near the
discrepancy.
best coach game that he's had with the Browns. I think it was far away from that, but I think I had a bigger issue with the way that he handled things in London against Minnesota than he did against Pittsburgh.
Now, do you think he did that on purpose?
No. I told you it was a Galaxy brain take.
Well, you can't just say Galaxy Brain
I
take and
told
say
you
it
that.
and then
It
just
came out of your mouth. You own it now.
Yeah, you have
That's
to
yours.
own it.
Fine,
You
but
have
I
to own
told
it.
you what it was before
No,
I
you
said
can't
it.
go, I'm stupid, so here's my
Yeah,
stupid.
you can't
Yeah.
just say I'm
Sure
going to be
you
stupid
can.
and I'll be stupid. No, you say devil's advocate or something like that.
I said
you
Galaxy
can't just
Brain
say
take.
that.
Same
Anything you want to
thing.
say, it came out of your mouth with your vocal cords.
Sure as I can.
You now own that.
So if I get all these
The
calls
thoughts and
here,
opinions of Danny Cunningham or Danny Cunningham's and maybe any of his other employers, but not Owen's.
so if I go to all these calls here and they start disagreeing with you, you're not going to back up what you said? You're not going to argue with these
I
fine
didn't even
folks?
say that I agreed with what I said. I
Then
told you
why
it was a
would you
Galaxy
say
brain
it,
take.
Danny?
I told you what it was.
There's lots of stupid things that come to my head that I'm not going to say in front of people because I know it's embarrassing.
So if I would have said devil's
But
advocate
you just
instead
said
of
it on the
Galaxy
radio,
brain,
so
you would
that
have
means you
treated it
own the
different?
take. You just said it on the radio, so that means they're going to show a video, and guess what's going to happen? You're going to get cussed out the whole day.
That's
Because
fine.
people are going to think that you said it.
That's fine. I won't read my mentions. I'll live. I'll be fine.
I'm going to call you and read them to you.
Okay. Who am I, Pony? Because I know you do that with him.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. It's true. Because he doesn't look at him, and he deserves to look at some of them. Some of them are really nasty.
Oh, I've read them.
And those are the ones
I
I
will
read to
at time when things are going
All right.
bad in Pittsburgh, I will scroll his feed and his mentions.
216-474-0092. Would he... I don't even know what I was asking who the bigger problem was, and I got to tell people
It's
my
Danny Cunningham.
answer on the Bill Callahan question. But Danny, if
You want
anybody
to go through
actually
my
believes
mentions right
that,
now?
that's
This
insanity.
Danny is spot on.
No, you're kidding me.
Real
Who's
D
saying
Cunningham
this?
and that caller
Who's
are
saying
onto
that?
something.
Dennis
Of course, all the
69,
people
69.
that
No,
follow
not
Danny,
Dennis
yeah.
69.
Firecrotch
69.
84.
No.
Who is it?
Bats Baseball Club. Danny Cunningham is 100% correct about
That's
Stefanski trying to prove a point.
Danny, I'm going to turn off your mic until we surf side here in a couple of minutes.
He would try to prove a point in winning a game. He's not. No one is losing. You're not going to lose a game on purpose to prove a point. You're not going to put yourself in a bad position just to prove a point.
I think my mentions are going to be better than you
desperate
anticipate them being.
Because you guys are just trying to figure out any way that a guy who seemed to have common sense would drop a quarterback back 58 times. You're trying to figure out any way you would have that terrible use of the clock at the end of the football game. Can't we see that this is a man who used to have common sense who's now acting desperately? That's why some of the stuff that people are saying, and this ain't no galaxy brain thought, that's why some of the stuff that people are saying that I think is starting to seep in and starting to be true, that he might be under a little bit more of the gun than we think he is. Because it's been 2 weeks where we've been doing some silly stuff. And you can't just say, well, the Steelers took away Quinshon Judkins. You ran the ball 12 times with him. How do I even give it a chance for him to take it away? And the last run he had, you went out and got a gain, didn't you? You got a first down. Didn't even give him a chance. 58 dropbacks. It does seem pretty silly.
It was.
But I'm not going to make up crazy things to justify what he's doing. That sounds nuts. And then you're like kind of running away like, oh, I just said it was a Galaxy brain.
I did. If I would have said the word devil's advocate instead, this whole segment would have been handled